Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm Tristan.
And I'm Mohammed.
And you're listening to Difference of Squares. We're watching it, I guess, now since we're recording the video.
We upgraded.
We upgraded. For those of you out of loop, we've been reading the Eye of Argon, an incredible short story, novella, whatever, by Jim Tice. And just as a quick recap where we last left off, Grignr, our hero, was in prison, or is in prison, and he killed a giant rat, and apparently that's going to help him escape. He has an escape plan now that involves this dead rat. And
we should tell people what chapter we're on. Chapter 6,
yeah, we're going to be starting chapter 5 today, right at the top.
Yeah.
Chapter 5. One other thing that happened is, well, nothing really happened, but there was a very lengthy description of a woman chained to like an altar or something. It looks like she's about to be sacrificed to the titular Eye of Argon.
Yeah, the Eye of Argon, I guess, was introduced last we talked.
Yeah, it's some sort of religious, magical, eldritch horror thing. I don't know. It's like a jewel. I still don't really know what it is.
Let's get back into this. Is it? Yeah, perfect. I'll let you.
All right.
All right.
So we start chapter 5, which I think picks up with that woman chained to the altar. Up to the altar and be done with it, wench.
Oh, this one's back. Beautiful. Let's go.
Yeah. Ordered a fidgeting shaman as he gave the female a grim stare, accompanied by the wrinkling of his lips to a mirthful grin of delight.
Here we go. We're back at it again.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. He just smiled. The girl burst into a slow, steady whimper, stooping shakily to her knees and cringing woefully from the priest with both arms wound snake-like around the bulging jade shin rising before her scantily attired figure. Her face was redly inflamed from the salty flow of tears spouting from her glassy, dilated eyeballs.
What? Just
well, at least they call it their eyeballs this time and not orbs.
Yeah.
With short, heavy footfalls, only one L, the priest approached the female, his piercing stare never wavering from her quivering young countenance. Halting before the terrified girl, he projected his arm outward and motioned her to arise with an upward movement of his hand. The girl's whimpering increased slightly, and she sunk closer to the floor rather than arising. The flickering torches outlined her trim build with a weird ornate glow as it cast a ghostly shadow dancing in forward waves of splendor over her smoothly worn whiteness of the marble hewn altar.
Yes.
Sure. The shaman's lips curled back further, exposing a set of blackened, decaying molars, which transformed his slovenly grin into a wide, greasy arc of sadistic mirth, and alternately interposed into the female a strong sensation of stomach-curdling nausea. Have it as you will, female, gloated the enhanced priest as he bent over at the waist, projecting his ape-like arms forward and clasped the female's slender arms with hairy round fists. With an inward surge of his biceps, he harshly jerked the trembling girl to her feet and smothered her salty wet cheeks with the moldy touch of his decrepit, dull red lips. He's kissing her cheek for some reason. The vile stench of the shaman's hot, fetid breath overcame the nauseated female with a deep, soul-searing sickness, causing her to wrench her head backwards and regurgitate a slimy orange-white stream of swelling gore over the richly woven purple robe of the enthused.
See, yeah, just drop that last bit. You told us what's going on. Jesus.
Yeah, now she's
right there.
on him. Well, last time was just a description of the scene. Now we're getting some action where he's trying to kiss her and she's barfing. The priest slipped.
That's not the image I got. The image I got was that he puked something onto her. No,
she's puking onto him.
No, but like what did he say? Breath overcame nausea. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah,
like a bad breath situation.
He has bad breath and bad teeth. And he tried to kiss her, which made her barf onto him. Now he's angry. The priest's lips trembled with a malicious rage as he removed his callous paw from the girl's arms and replaced them with tightly
Around her.
and replaced them with tightly around her undulating neck, shaking her violently to and fro.
Ooh.
The girl gasped a tortured groan from her clamped lungs, her sea blue eyes bulging forth from damp sockets. Cocking her right foot backwards, she leashed it desperately outwards with the strength of a demon possessed, launching her sandaled foot squarely between the shaman's testicles. So now she kicked him in the nuts.
Basically.
The startled priest released his crushing grip, crimping his body over at the waist, overlooking his recessed belly, wide open in a deep chasm. His face flushed to a rose red shade of crimson. Jesus. Okay. Just like they could say his face flushed to a red shade of red. That's basically what he just wrote there. Eyelids fluttering wide, with eyeballs protruding blindly outwards from their sockets to their outmost perimeters. While his lips quivered wildly, his lips keep quivering outward from their socket. Quivered wildly about, allowing an agonized wallow to gust forth as his breath billowed from burning lungs. His hands reached out, clenching his urinary gland as his lips wobbled rapidly about for a few seconds, then buckled, causing
urinary gland. Just say his dick. Holy shit.
I like how he's just describing like a nut, like a kick to the nuts, which is normally like I can't tell if this is supposed to be comical or not. Like, is this supposed to be a funny moment where he gets kicked in the nuts?
I don't think so. No, it was pretty intense before that. She was puking from.
Yeah.
An
Causing the
white stream of swelling gore, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if this is supposed to be for laughs or not.
No.
And the shaman collapses in an egg huddled mass to the granite pavement, rolling helplessly about in agony. Like, it's just such an absurd.
What?
And he's still going on, with the description of his kick to the nuts. The pathetic screeches of the shaman groveling in dejected misery upon the hand-hewn granite-laid pavement. Okay. He likes to say that it's granite pavement instead of floor, whatever. Worn smooth by countless hours of arduous sweat and toil. A welter of ichor oozing through his clenched hands. Oh my God, he's bleeding. Attracted the perturbed attention of his comrades from their foetid ululations. The actions of this rebellious wench bespoke the credence of an unheard of sacrilege. Never before in a lost maze of untold aeons had a chosen one dared to demonstrate such blasphemy in the face of the cult's idolic deity. Oh, they're upset. You're not supposed to kick him in the nuts when you're about to be sacrificed or whatever.
Or something else. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what's going on. The girl cowered in unreasoning terror. She's back to cowering again, helpless in the face of the emblazoned acolyte's rage. Her orchid-tussled face smothered betwixt her bulging bosom as she shut her curled lash tightly, hoping to open them and find herself awakening from a morbid nightmare. So it's implying that her boobs are so huge that it's making her struggle to breathe, like they're getting into her face.
What?
Like, that's not how breasts work.
Yeah. I feel like there's like some cartoonish imagery in this kid's head that's getting like blended into like whatever epic, whatever that he's writing. You know what I mean? Like there is like these like scenes that he's trying to picture, but then there's like these like deep cartoonish elements to them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Or eyes bulging out of their sockets to the utmost parameter.
It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like exaggerated like proportions.
And it's
of
what, like
everything.
19, what, 60 something?
Yeah,
Those versions?
69, I think, or something.
It kind of lines up, no? With the first like series of cartoons that were released. They were all like that.
I
No?
mean, cartoons started way before that. Like,
Really? Okay, so when did like Tom and Jerry and them come out?
I mean, most like Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, and Mickey Mouse and all that, they all started in like 20s, 30s.
Really? No way.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been around a long ass time.
20s?
You can see when was the first Bugs Bunny cartoon?
1940, dude. Tom and Jerry.
See, still a lot older. Anyway,
Hey, that's not that old. So 26 years old. Yeah, he was 16. So at 10 years old, the first. No, never mind.
anyway.
Yeah. Hey, I was interested in the topic. How dare you?
When's the first cartoon?
That's important, man. That's, that's historic Americana.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But you're not a fan of Americana. We get it.
Yet the hand of destiny,
Very
there's no
controversial.
such mercy. The antagonized pack of leering shaman, converging tensely upon her prostrate form, were entangled all too lividly in the grim web of reality. Shuddering from the clammy touch of the shaman as they grappled with her supple form, hands wrenching at her slender arms and legs in all directions, her bare body being molested in the midst of a labyrinth of orange smudges, purpled satin, and mangled skulls, shadowed in an eerie crimson glow. Her confused head reeled and clouded in a mist of enshrouding ebony, ebony instead of darkness, okay, as she lapsed beneath a protected sheet of unconsciousness to a land peach and resign.
Dude, he's used the word crimson once a chapter at least.
At least multiple times this chapter, I'm pretty sure.
It says
I don't
12.
understand. A
Is it
land
first?
peach and resign. I don't even know what he's trying to say there. Like, I have no.
I'm gonna find out how many times he's used the word peach.
Peach, I think he's only used it like once or twice.
Once.
Crimson's been in there a lot.
Crimson is 12. 12 times.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't
And
hate
now
on
we
this
go
guy, but I
on.
am becoming more, critical as we read more into it. I'm like,
Yeah,
drop the
well,
act,
yeah, he's
man.
got.
Tell me the story.
Now we go on to chapter 6, and we're back to Grignr and his escape attempt.
Let's go.
Take
Oh, that's a
hold
long
of this
one,
rope.
chapter 6.
Said,
Holy shit.
Hmm?
Chapter 6 is a long one.
Chapter 6 is long. We might not get through all of it at once, but
Oh,
we'll,
but then like 7, 8, 7. That's it. There's no 8. And then the last ending.
there's 6, 7, 7.5.
Let's go.
Ends on 7.5. Spoiler alert, ends
Go
on
on
a half chapter.
ceremoniously. Wow.
Take hold of this rope, said the first soldier, and climb out from your pit, slut. There's a classic insult for men,
I know.
slut. Your presence is requested in another far deeper hellhole. Great. Okay. Grignr
He's only
slept
used
his...
the word slut 3, 4 times. So
Yeah. I think
Not
this
bad.
is the third time someone's been called a slut. Grignr slipped his right hand to his thigh, concealing a small opaque object beneath the folds of the G-string.
I don't know what
wrapped
the
around his
dude. I
waist.
just remembered the second slut was a guy.
All the sluts have been guys.
Oh, is this one a guy too?
Yeah, this one's Grignr is the slut. We're back in the prison right now. Grignr's the slut. Grignr's the slut. Probably true. He is pretty. He's definitely sleeps around.
That's funny.
Brine wells swelled in Grignr's cold, jade, squinting eyes, which grown accustomed to the gloom of the Stygian pools of ebony engulfing him.
Ebony. I want to
How
know.
many times
Ebony.
does he use ebony?
5 times.
All right.
Okay.
His eyes were bedazzled and blinded by flickering radiance cast forth by the second soldier's resin torch. Tightly gripped in the second soldier's right hand, opposite the intermittent torch, was a large double-edged axe, a long leather-wound oaken handle transfixing the center of the weapon's iron head. Why do we need this description of the axe?
That's what I mean. There's like these single images in his head that he's trying to convey to you instead of
Yeah.
setting up the environment. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
really wants you to know about that axe, you know?
Yeah, the axe is going to be
Specific
important,
things about this
or
jewel.
it's just going to be forgotten about instantly.
It's not part of the story at all.
One or the other. Adorning the torsos of both of the sentries were thin yet sturdy hauberks, the breastplates of which were woven tightly hemmed twines of reinforced silver braiding. Cupping the soldiers' feet were thick leather sandals wound about their shins to 2 inches below their knees.
Why so much detail?
Wrapped about the, oh, Jesus. I guess I'll read it, but it's like, what's even the point to this? Wrapped about their waist were wide satin girdles with slender bladed poniards dangling loosely from them, the hilts of which featured scarlet encrusted gems. Resting upon the mains of their heads and reaching midway to their brows were smooth copper morions. Spirally in the lower portion of the helmet were short curved silver spikes with a golden hump spine from the top of each bassinet. Beneath their
Wow.
chins, wound around their necks, and draping their clad soldiers dangled regal purple satin cloaks, which flowed midway to their soldiers' feet. Great. All this pointless
Dude,
description
I bet
out of the
you
way,
could-
gone.
I think that you could summarize the whole thing in what, 2 sentences?
Yeah. You don't even need that. You just say 2 soldiers are armored, they were in armor, and they wore red capes.
That's it.
Yeah.
4 words.
They had
2
weapons.
soldiers
They had-
in armor.
if you really need to fill in that gap, they're carrying weapons, which I don't think
Wow.
you need to. Hand over hand, feet braced against the dank walls of the enclosure, huge Grignr ascended from the moldering depths of the forlorn abyss. His swelled limbs, stiff due to the boredom of a timeless inactivity, compounded by the musty atmosphere and jagged granite protuberant against his body, craved for action. The opportunity now presenting itself served the purpose of oiling his rusty joints and honing his dulled senses.
Atmosphere. I really did think it was a real word for a second.
I mean, I think he's trying to say atmosphere,
I know that's what I'm thinking.
but like atmosphere. Like that's not even close, really.
Sounds like a
And then
good
protuberant
real
right
word.
after that. Anyway,
jagged granite.
he braced himself facing the second soldier. The sentry's stature was wildly exaggerated in the glare of the flickering crescent cuppix in his right fist. So clearly cuppix, I'm assuming cuppix must be in thesaurus, another word for torch.
Let's see.
Oh, no, it's not a word. I lied. That's not a word. It's not a word.
It's not a word. Wow.
You just made it up. I don't know. All right.
What could it be?
I don't know.
Crescent Cuppix.
I'm
So
assuming
you
he's
know what's
referring to
funny
the
about
torch,
the words
but
that he uses? They
crescent,
sound
is
the same.
crescent a word or does he mean crescent?
I think crescent is probably not a word either.
Crescent, a metal container of oil, grease, wood, or coal burned as a torch. Oh, there we go. Typically mounted on poles, so not carried in the hand. So close, but not quite close enough. All right.
Crescent Cuppix. Nothing.
Yeah.
No. Well,
His eyes were wide open in a slightly owlish gaze. Oh, a slightly slanted owlish gaze, enhanced in their sinister intensity by the hawk-bill curve of his nose and pale yellow peak of his cheeks. Place your hands behind your back, said the second soldier as he raised his axe over his right shoulder blade and cast it a wavering glance. We must bind your wrists to parry any attempts at escape. I like how they're informing him why they're binding his wrists. Be sure to make the knot a stout one, Broig. Oh, a third named character. Broig is the name of the first soldier. We want our guests to take leave of
why
our
would you then
guidance.
introduce the soldier right now in chapter? No one's gotten a name here.
Broig has the third character. We have Grignr has a name.
The
Agathon,
Yuki woman and the shaman didn't get names. That's fucking.
yeah, they don't have names, but Agathon,
Sorry.
the guy who immediately died, got a name, and Broig, who's also definitely about to die, gets a name. Like we wouldn't want our guests to take leave of our guidance. I feel like that's a thing anyone has ever said.
Don't fuck with this guy.
Broig grasped Grignr's left wrist and reached for the barbarian's right wrist. Grignr wrenched his right arm free and swiveled to face Broig, reach beneath his loincloth with his right hand. The sentry grappled at his girdle for the sheathed dagger, but recoiled short of his intentions as Grignr's right arm swept to his gorge. The soldier went limp, his bobbing eyes rolling beneath fluttering eyelids, a deep welt across his spouting gullet. Without lingering to observe the results of his efforts, Grignr dropped to his knees. The second soldier's axe cleft over Grignr's head in a buzz of silvered ferocity, severing several scarlet locks from his scalp, coming to rest in his fellow's stomach. Oh, I see. So he ducked beneath the blow. Good for you, Grignr.
So much.
Broig is dead, by the way. He died. Broig, we hardly knew ye. The iron head crashed through mail and flesh with splintering force, spilling a pool of crimson entrails over the granite paving. He's really fond of saying that the floor is pavement.
Granite.
Anyway.
I want to know what granite now. Granite.
Granite's just like a type of rock.
10 times. He's used the word granite 10 times.
I also don't know if anyway. Yeah, he's used it.
You've given up on criticizing this.
Whatever. I just don't know if it's appropriate to say granite pavement in this context, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Probably.
Before the sentry could wrench his axe free from his comrade's carcass, he found Grignr's massive hands clasped about his throat, choking the life from his clamped lungs. With a zealous grunt, the accordion flexed his tightly corded biceps, forcing the grim-faced soldier to one knee. The sentry plunged his right fist into Grignr's face, digging his grimy nails into the barbarian's flesh. Ejaculating a curse through rasping teeth, Grignr surged the bulk of his weight forward, bowling the besieged soldier over upon his back. The sentry's arms clutched to his thighs, shuddering convulsively, his bulging eyes staring blindly from a bloated, cherry-red face. Rising to his feet, Grignr shook the blood. He's trying to say blood, but he put in 2 L's instead of 2 O's from his eyes, ruffling his surly red mane as a brush fire swaying to the nighttime breeze. Stooping over the sprawled corpse of the first soldier, Grignr retrieved a small white object from the pool of congealing gore. Snorting a gusty bellow of mirth, he once more concealed the tiny object beneath his loincloth, the tediously honed pelvis bone of the broken rodent.
Oh, what?
So he just picked up his shiv again. Apparently he dropped his shiv at some point, but I don't remember when he did that. And also, why isn't he picking up the axe that he described they had earlier? Why does he not pick up the clearly superior weapon?
Yeah, like why was that axe described at all?
Yeah, no reason. He's just going to forget it exists. Returning his attention toward the second soldier, Grignr turned to the task of attiring his limbs. To move about freely through the dim recesses of the castle would require the grotesque garb of its soldiery. So he's stealing the guy's armor so he can dress up and pretend to be a soldier. But apparently he's not taking the axe. Maybe he is taking the axe. Who knows?
Are you hinting at something you know?
I don't know. I have no idea if he took the axe or not.
Okay. We're like building hype into a story that doesn't have it. I love it.
At least he spares us the description of Grignr wearing the soldier's clothes. He could just describe it all over again.
Or him putting it on as he turns his wrist and put it on his corded arms.
Yeah. Yeah. He actually like saved some time there, so I'll applaud him for that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Utilizing the silence and stealth acquired in the untamed climes of his childhood, Grignr slinked through twisting corridors and winding stairways, lighting his way with the confiscated torch of his dispatched guardian. Oh, so he took the torch.
Yeah, well,
Knowing where his steps were leading to.
the Cupics.
Okay, I think it's supposed to be not knowing, but he says knowing where his steps were leading to, Grignr meandered aimlessly in search of an exit from the chateau's dim confines. So clearly he doesn't know where he's going, despite what we were.
Oh, we know what he's trying to say. Yeah.
I like how it's a chateau.
A chateau in the middle of all this. There's a chateau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those chateaus are famous for being dank, grim places that no one wants to be at. Anyway, the wild blood coursing through his veins. Oh, he always has that wild blood through his veins. Yearned for the undefiled freedom of the livid wilderness lands. Okay. Livid wilderness lands. I like that. Don't even know what that would look like.
That's using the word wild twice in one sentence. That's actually
Yeah,
interesting for him. Somebody who like switches words all the time.
yeah. And
Use
also he
that.
says livid, and he clearly like livid wilderness land. Like that's not even like how is land livid? I don't know. Anyway,
When I read something like this, it makes me want to like look up the word livid to see like what else it means.
I
Like,
think he confused livid with vivid. Maybe that would be my guess.
it wouldn't even make sense of the vivid wilderness lands. No, never mind. Let's
But
move
also
on. I don't
saying
wanna-
wilderness lands. It's also
Wilderness lands.
just that on its own is dumb. Coming upon a fork in the passage, he treeked. He treeked. Don't know what that means. Voices accompanied by clinking footfalls discerned to his sensitive ears from the left corridor. Wishing to avoid contact, Grignr veered to the right passageway. If requested as to the purpose of his presence, his barbarous accent would reveal his identity, being that his attire was not that of the castle's mercenary troops. I thought you
Treek is
just
not
said
a
he
word.
took. Did he not just say that he just took the soldier's garb?
Is that what it said? And it
I don't know. Now it's saying that he's not dressed appropriately.
Yeah, maybe he just has the loincloth and some pieces of armor, you know?
I don't know. I don't know what the image is here now. He took the soldier's stuff so he can blend in, but also he doesn't blend in. Also, his voice will give him away instantly, so it's pointless. I don't know. Anyway,
He's making an effort.
yeah. In grim silence, Grignr treaded. Oh no, I read that part. No, I didn't. He just repeated himself. Okay. In grim silence, Grignr treaded down the dingily lit corridor, a stalking panther creeping warily along on padded feet. That's not a bad descriptive language there compared him to a panther.
Creeping rarely along the pattern.
After an interminable period of wandering through the dull corridors, no gaps to break the monotony of the cold gray walls, Grignr espied a small winding stairway. Descending the flight of arced granite slabs to their posterior, Grignr was confronted by a short hallway leading to a tall arched wooden doorway. Hallway spelled with 2 A's instead of 2 L's. So there you go.
I can't hate on ESL, dude. That's a mistake I would.
Halting before the teeming portal, Grignr restes his shaggy head sideways against the barrier. Detecting no sounds from within, he grasped the looped metal handle of the door, his arms surging with a tremendous effort of bulging muscles, yet the door would not budge. Retrieving his axe from where he had sheathed it beneath his girdle. Okay, so he did get the axe, or this is his own axe, whatever. He has an axe now.
You did not let it see. That's not cool, Tristan. You're building up all this suspense. He did have his axe all along.
He had it the whole time.
What about the armor? Now I'm interested in the armor. I want to know.
He hefted it in his mighty hands with an apiest grunt, and wedging one of its
grunt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's supposed to be like ape-like grunt. I'm assuming is kind of what he means.
Yes.
And
I
wedging
like that
one of its
name.
blackened edges into the crack between the portal and its iron-rimmed sill. Bracing his sandaled right foot against the roughly hewn wall, teeth tightly clenched. I'm gonna let you guess how he spelled roughly. And Grignr levered the oaken haft,
Wow, he goes off again, hey?
employing it as a lever whereby to pry open the barrier. The leather wound hilt, because he couldn't figure that out on his own, then he's trying to lever it
What
over.
was it?
Anyway, the leather wound hilt bending to its utmost limits of endurance. The massive portal swung open with a grating of snapped latch and rusty iron hinges. Glancing about the dust-swirled room in the gloomily dancing glare of his flickering cresset, there's cresset again. Grignr eyed evidences of the enclosure being nothing more than a forgotten storeroom. Miscellaneous articles acquired for the maintenance of a castle were piled in disorganized heaps at infrequent intervals toward the wall opposite the barbarian's piercing stare. Utilizing long bounding strides, Grignr paced his way over to the mounds of supplies to discover if any articles of value were contained within their midst. So now he gets to loot the room. Classic Dungeons and Dragons stuff now. He gets to loot the room.
This is what I mean, man. It's like a mix of different imagery. This kid is like,
Yeah. I hope he's going to describe in in uncomfortable detail or agonizing detail every single artifact in that room. Let's see. Detecting a faint.
You know this. He probably does. No. Don't do this.
Oh,
to me.
something else might happen. Detecting a faint clinking sound, Grignr sprawled to his left side with the speed of a striking cobra, landing harshly upon his back, torch and axe loudly clattered into the floor in a morass of sparks and flame. An elm-woven board leapt from collapsed flooring, clashing against the jagged flooring twice, and spewing a shower of orange and yellow sparks over Grignr's startled face. Oh, I guess there's a trap. I think he triggered a trap. Another classic Dungeons and Dragons thing. Rising uneasily to his feet, the half-stunned accordion glared down at the gruesome arm of death he had unwittingly sprung. Mrific! And that's just something he says, Mrific.
What does that even mean?
I'm assuming that's just like an exclamation.
Perfect.
But
Okay.
there's no context given for what that is. Mrific.
Not first key notatorio.
I think it might be a god or something. If not for his keen auditory organs and lightning.
Oh my god, here we go again. This is
Reflexes.
his like, signature.
Grignr would have been groping through the shadowed hell pits of the Grim Reaper. Nice. He says that he would have died. He could have just said Grignr would have been dead. But no,
If it wasn't for his video.
he would have been groping through the shadowed hell pits of the Grim Reaper.
The Grignr.
He had unknowingly stumbled upon an ancient, long-forgotten booby trap, a mistake which would have stunted the perusal of longevity of one less agile. You can't just say he would have died. Just all
Wow.
these like needless.
That's so over the top.
Yeah. Oh, now it's going to describe the trap. A mechanism similar in type to that of a miniature catapult was concealed between two collapsible sections of granite flooring.
Granted again.
Not pavement this time, though. The arm of the device was 4 feet long, boasting razor-like cleats at regular intervals along its face, with which it was to skewer the luckless body of its would-be victim. Grignr had stepped upon a concealed catch, which released a small metal latch beneath the two granite sections, causing them to fall inward, and thereby loose the spiked arm of death they precariously held in. So there you go. You have to get this really detailed description of what the trap is and how he triggered it.
See, and like he annoys me sometimes with this shit. Like, too much.
Partially out of curiosity and partially out of inordinate fear of becoming a pincushion for a possible second trap, Grignr plunged his torch into the exposed gap in the floor. The floor of a second chamber stood out 7 feet below the glare. Tossing his torch through the aperture, Grignr grasped the side of an adjoining tile, dropping down. So he just decides to go down for no reason. Just like, yeah, I'll go down. Screw this treasure that was guarded by a trap. I'll just go down.
Every paragraph is almost like a standalone piece of nonsense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he jumped from the next one. It's like starting to annoy me. I can't even buy into the whole, oh, he's a creative 16-year-old anymore. This is like, come on, man. Have two of them relate.
Glancing about the room, Grignr discovered that he had descended into the palace's mausoleum. Rectangular stone crypts cluttered the floor at evenly placed intervals. Always at intervals. The tops of the enclosures were plated with thick layers of virgin gold, while the sides were plated with white ivory, at one time sparkling, but now growing dingy through the passage of the rays of all-encompassing mother time.
All-encompassing.
All-encompassing. I guess I should say all-encompassing, because it's all one word. Featured at the head of each sarcophagus in tarnished silver was an expugnissively carved likeness of its rotting inhabitants. Interesting. All right. Fun word there. A dingy atmosphere pervaded the air of the chamber, which sealed in the enclosure for an unknown period had grown thick instead.
That's not a word either. Expung.
Yeah, obviously that's not.
I don't know. I don't know this. I was looking that up. I'm like, what is he trying to say?
Intermingling with the,
Expansively?
Hmm? Yeah,
Expansive?
expensively. I think it's supposed to be expensively. That would be my guess.
Okay.
Uh,
Towering over
Yeah.
Grignr.
Intermingling with the curdled currents was the repugnant stench of slowly moldering flesh, creeping ever slowly but surely through minute cracks in the numerous vaults. Due to the embalming of the bodies, their flesh decayed at a much slower rate than is normal, yet the nauseous odor was nonetheless repellent. Okay.
One good sentence and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Towering over Grignr's head was the trap he released. Great. Oh, now he's going to describe the mechanism of the trap again.
Oh no, it was like a miniature catapult again. There you go.
Yeah, the mechanism of the miniaturized catapult was cluttered with mildew and cobwebs. Notwithstanding these relics of antiquity, its efficiency remained unimpinged. To the right of the trap wound a short stairway through a recess in the ceiling, a concealed entrance leading to the mausoleum for which the catapult had obviously been erected as a silent, relentless guardian. All right.
Silent, relentless guardian. Okay.
Climbing up the side of the device, Grignr set to the task of resetting its mechanism. In the event that a search was organized, it would prove well to leave no evidence of his presence, opening to wandering eyes. Besides, it might even serve to dwindle the size of an opposing force. So he's resetting the trap. There we go. Descending from his perch, Grignr was startled by a faintly muffled scream of horrified desperation. His hair prickled yawkishly in disorganized clumps along his scalp. Okay. Yawkishly. I don't know
what does that even mean? I'm looking all these up as we go. Yawkish.
Doesn't matter. Yawkishly, either it's not a word or like it's a really archaic word that no one has used it.
Hawkishly?
Yawkishly. Hawkishly is a word, but I don't think that's what he means. I might be wrong. I don't know. As a cold danced along the length of his spinal cord, that's one sentence. As a cold danced along the length of his spinal cord. Apparently, that's a complete sentence. No moral / mortal barrier, human or otherwise, was capable of arousing the numbing sensation of fear inside Grignr's smoldering soul. However, he was overwrought by the forces of the barbarian's instinctive fear of the supernatural. So despite nothing being able to scare him, he is scared. His mighty thews had always served to adequately conquer any tangible foe, but the intangible was something distant and terrible. Dim, horrifying tales passed by word of mouth over glimmering campfires and skins of wine had more than once served the purpose of chilling the marrowed core of his sturdy-limbed bones. Dun, dun, dun. Yet the scream contained a strangely human quality, unlike that which Grignr imagined would have come from the lungs of a demon or spirit, making Grignr take short, nervous strides advancing to the sarcophagus from which the sound was issuing. Clenching his teeth in an attempt to steel his jangled nerves, Grignr slid the engraved slab from the vault with a sharp rasp of grinding stone. Another long-drawn cry of terror, infested anguish met the barbarian, scoring like the shrill piping of a demented banshee, piercing the inner fibers of a superstitious brain with primitive dread twice, and awe. Stooping over to espy the tomb's contents, the glittering accordion's nostrils were singed by the scorching aroma of a moldering corpse. Always moldering. He loves that word, moldering. Long shut up and fermenting. The same putrid scent which permeated the entire chamber, though multiplied to a much more concentrated dosage. The shriveled, leathery packet of crumbling bones and dried, flacking flesh offered no resistance, but remained in fixed position of perpetual vigilance, watching over its dim abode from hollow, gaping sockets. Cool. The tortured cries, cries, but he spelled it just C-R-Y-S, were not coming from the tomb, but from some hidden depth below! Exclamation points! Pulling the reeking corpse from its resting place, Grignr tossed it to the floor in a broken, mangled heap. Just desecrate a body, all right? Upon one side of the crypt's bottom was attached a series of tiny hinges, were running parallel along the opposite side of a convex railing-like protuberance, laid
Why do
so
we need
to
to know
appear as
this?
part of the interior surface of the sarcophagus. Okay, so we notice that there's a hidden door underneath the sarcophagus, I guess.
Oh my god.
Raising the slab upon its bronze hinges, long removed from the gaze of human eyes, Grignr perceived a scene which caused his blood to smolder, not unlike bubbling molten lava. Directly below him, a whimpering female lay stretched upon a smooth surfaced marble altar. A pack of gracie-faced shaman clustered around her in a tight circular formation. Crouched over the girl was a tall, pot-bellied priest, his face dominated by a disgusting open-mouthed grimace of sadistic glee.
Lee.
Suspended from the acolyte's clenched right hand was a carven oval-faced mallet, which waved menacingly over the girl's shadowed face, an incoherent gibberish flowing from his grim, thick-lipped mouth. So he can see the scene we saw earlier, basically, of the girl at the altar.
Yeah.
So now he can rescue her just in time. In the face of the amorphous, broad-breasted...
He did bring it back together.
Yeah.
To some extent. We'll see.
Sure. I mean, now there's actual plot happening. Took a while, but now we're at plot.
6.5 chapters.
In the face of the amorphous, broad-breasted female, he always got notes the boobies, stretched out alluringly before his gaping eyes. Oh, that's the part he cares about the most. The universal whim of nature filing a plea of despair inside of his white-hot soul. Grignr acted in the only manner he could perceive. Giving vent to a hoarse, throat-rending battle cry, Grignr plunged into the midst of the startled shaman, torch simmering in his left hand, and axe twirling in his right hand.
And axe? What does that mean?
It's supposed to be and space axe. So he has the axe weapon, but he made it one word. So it looks like and axe.
So he's jumping in.
Yeah. Swinging his axe around, probably going to be cutting some people up. A gaunt, skull-faced priest standing at the far side of the altar clutched desperately at his throat, coughing furiously in an attempt to catch his breath. Lurching helplessly to and fro, the acolyte pitched headlong against the gleaming base of a massive jade idol. Writhing agonizingly against the hideous image, foam flecking his chalk-white lips, the priest struggled helplessly, the victim of an epileptic seizure. So one of the priests has a seizure and collapses to the floor. There we go. Cool. Startled by the barbarians.
Somebody should do a little cartoon of this.
Yeah. The chronic fit of their fellow and the fear that Grignr might be the avant-garde of a conquering force dedicated to the cause of destroying their degenerated cult. The shaman momentarily lost their composure. Giving vent to heedless pandemonium, the priests fell easy prey to Grignr's sweeping art of crimson death and maiming destruction. You want to pause there or keep going?
I think not only, let's pause there, but I just found this video. We should watch it at the end of this. Somebody done a little cartoon of it.
Someone made a cartoon?
Yeah, but we'll finish the story maybe probably next time, right?
Either next time or the time after. There are...
Oh yeah, 7's a big one.
There's still quite a few pages left. I think it'll be probably 2 more times. We can probably finish chapter 6 and chapter 7 next time.
Yeah.
And then maybe just do the last chapter for the time after.
I'm down.
Yeah. There's 2 pages left in chapter 6. Maybe we can go a bit way through chapter 7.5. It's yeah. We'll see. But there we go. I think that's a good place to leave it. Combat about to happen.
We'll come back with some excitement in the next episode.
Yeah, immediately we won't be no more boring description. Hopefully, well, probably he'll probably find a way to make this fight seem really boring.
Just this like one sword that he gets stuck on. They'll have to read like 2 paragraphs on. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we'll call it for this week.
Yeah, sure.
Come back next week,
Yeah.
finish the story off.
Yeah, we'll hope next time we'll get close to finishing the story. I think we'll get into like the last little bit. But yeah, that's it for this week. And
That's it for this week. We'll be back for to finish this and hopefully start another series. We'll find some cool topics to talk about.
yeah. All right.
All right.
I'll stop the
Perfect.
recording and see you next time.